Okay, I want to share with you what I'm making today. I'm working on a baby blanket. I'm using a white red heart, and it's going to be in stripes based on 30 stitches. So I have 30 stitches extended, and this is the first stripe. I cast on 30. I did a band of 15 rows all the way across. Then at the 15th, I only did the sides. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets. It's just a rib, but it's done all the way up, and it's a double mock fisherman. And I'll show you how to do that, because each strip is going to get the band. The outside strip gets the band all the way up. I make a slip knot. I place that on my first needle. Okay, now you can see I got the ends. And I'm laying in the rods. I'm using 4 because it's got 30 needles in it. I bring my work up, my working yarn up, trying not to catch it on any. I'm using key plate 4. And I do this in a series of 2 stitches. 2 rows is 1 stitch. Okay. So you hit the row. Now I'm using a modified bond. And what I mean by that, I'm only using 3 sections. One thing you want to remember to do, if you have a row counter, change the row counter back to 0 when you start. I just did 4 stitches, 4 rows, so I changed it to 4. Now, what the mock fisherman rib is, which I'm going to do it for 15 rows, like I said, I don't do the first 2 stitches. Okay, so I go into my bottom stitch, I disengage the top, and I ladder it down. Now, you want to make sure you have multiples of 2 when you do this. If you end up uneven, you picked up the wrong stitch. I did 1 row rib, 2 row. It's a 2x1 rib is what we're doing. Let it go. Now what I'm doing, let me see if I can get you in a little closer. Okay, that's about it. I'm not normally you'd pick up, normally you'd pick up this stitch, but I'm going to pick up this stitch. See, now I got the stitch on the original stitch, I got a bar, and then I got the next stitch, pulling it through. I do that all the way up. Okay, skip 2 stitches, go into the bottom, unladder it, pick up the second ladder, pull through, pick up the next set. It's always in increments of 2. So the easiest way to keep track of not getting lost is only do increments of 2 rows. I usually do 4 rows and then I ladder it up. And I used to do more than 1 row at a time until I found out that it changes your tension. So I only do 1 row at a time. And I'm holding the weights down just a little bit, just so I can see what I'm doing. Now what I said I'm having a modified bond. It's 3 sections, which gives me 45 needles, which I can't really use all 45, so I'm only doing a 30 stitch piece. I had an extra bar that goes underneath the bed, so I placed that into those holes, and then I took my clamps. Now those, with the 3 bars, that 3 pieces of bed, that bar overhangs a bit, so I clamped my clamps onto those to keep it sturdy, because being so little it kind of goes along with it. No biggie, no drop stitches that important, because you can always pick it back up. Just have to go, whoop, we don't want, wait a minute. You have to make sure you do pick up the right one. But nothing is not fixable. Okay. There we go. I want to do 15 rows of these. And if you notice, I'm saying do it in increments of 2. And here I am telling you to do 15 rows. That last row is just a single stitch. You never want to use the last stitch. Okay. Now, because I'm using a modified bond, I'm keeping my pressure. Would help if you knew what I was talking about, wouldn't it? Because I'm doing a modified bond, I'm keeping the pressure on this side of the carriage when I'm going this way. When I'm coming back, I keep it on the other side, because it does overhang the bed. 1, 2, 4. Okay, that gives me 8 rows. when you're doing this, the stitch that, let me finish this and I'll explain. Actually, when you're doing this and you're going to grab this, you ignore this bar that's down here. That's part of the other stitch. You're done with it. I had the hardest time remembering that. But then once I figured it out, it's in increments of 2. I just make sure I need an even number of rows. And if you're only doing 4, it's very easy to unladder it. You just give it a little tug. Make sure you grab that second ladder. It's a little hard to stitch, to make a stitch when you don't grab the work. Now that carriage is going to be in my way here in a minute. And remember, I don't have a so I just took it off and set it on the side of me. Now I'll show you on my next row what stitch I'm picking up when I come back. Okay, push all your needles back in, lay your carriage back on the bed, and come right up to just enough, a little over half of on the bed. Then you knit in even increments. Okay, now let's get close. I want to show you. Alright. Take a look at the stitch. You see this one makes a bit of a star. You want to go where you can see it almost makes like a little X here. You want to go in the stitch right above that. You'll know you got the wrong stitch if you don't have an even number of ladders. Like I've got 4 here. If I had 5, I know I went either 1 too low or 1 too high. Usually it's 1 too high. Now, as I said, I'll do this for 15 rows. I'm going to do a total of 202 rows. And I was going to seam as I went. Well, I'll do that for the next one. Now, see, I can show you. See how I got 2 here? I shouldn't have 2. I should have 3 to grab. So I'll have to go back down. See, there's 1, 3, and 4. This is the one I need. I went to the one above it. That's one of the reasons I only do 4 at a time, because then you can really see which one you're working on. Doing every other ladder. Makes a real pretty star type on this side. Now when I go to do the next stripe, I'll show you seam as you go. And because I forgot to put it on this one, I'll do it from both ends, which is unique. Because I'll have two panels to hook together. I mean, if you didn't want to do seam as you go, you could always use the Bickford seam or the mattress stitch. Okay. Now, since this is a center panel, now this is, I did 16 rows, but I only want 15 in my pattern. So what I'm going to do is go, I did the 1 star, and that's my 15th. I did the 1 star, so this is my 15th, so I'm just going to ladder it. I want that to be a purl, a knit stitch, so I will ladder it up different. Okay? What did I do? I must have done 16, because I don't remember doing that on that first one. So we're going to do 16. Go back and fix this one. I must have. Now I will do the stockinette stitch after this. Aha! I did something screwy. 2, 4, 6, there it goes. That's why I only do 4 at a time. 4 is a lot easier to count. Than any higher numbers. You can look at a glance and see if you got 4. Okay. Now I'm just going to knit stockinette stitch till I get to row 187. And for that, I will be off camera and I'll be back. Okay, today we're doing a baby blanket done in white red heart. It is a modified fisherman rib, which I'll show you. And then, now this is the first panel, so it has the stockinette stitch plus the modified rib, which all the way up, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 all the way up. So if you stretch it out, you can see what it looks like. Now this is the wrong side. See, and this is the rib that we did. But I'll show you that rib. It's really makes it lay fairly flat too, which is nice. Now this is the modified. This is the modified E-wrap. And just open up the next stitch, pull the previous stitch. Open up the next, wrap and pull and knit. And you just do that all the way across. Make sure the latches get opened up as you lay the yarn in it. I'm working really close, so I've got the camera between me and it. Now, at this point you don't need the weights are okay, but I'm going to be hanging a cast on comb onto it. And you just do, I extended 30 needles, and I'm just knitting them making sure the latch is open. Now when I get to the last needle, I'm just going to wrap it and stitch. Okay. Now I have to get my cast on comb on there. And sometimes this takes a little bit of finagling. And it's easier if you do it, if you take your weights out. I use 4 bars. And you kind of just, easiest way is to hold the cast on comb upside down, set it into the channels. So you know you got one in every one. Lay it flat and then pull it down as you're pulling it towards you. Now you have to double check, make sure. I got 2 over here. I have a twisted clip here. You want to make sure you don't put any of your combs hanging across the needle. I got another one over here. Oh no, I can't see it. But I can feel it, if that makes any sense. So just, okay. Now I'll put my weights in. Let me see if I can back this up some so I can see what I'm doing. Hang on just a second. Okay, this is CDS Studios again, and today we're working on a baby blanket. This is the first stripe. It is a mock rib, it's a mock fisherman, done on 15 rows, and it's a ribbed with 6 ribs, and then stockinette stitch in the middle. I've got the first stripe done, first panel. Now I did a